forgive the mess. We've got cladding for the walls, cladding for the roof, and then the rest of the cladding all around the other side. Managed to get my scaffolding up. This scaff stuff, pretty nifty. Not great for doing it by yourself, but you know, live and learn. It's all doable. It's quite easy really. Ledgers, transoms, standards. Stick them bits on. Couple of planks in the middle. Get on to the next bit. Put them in. Then put the planks on. There you go. There's just two cross pieces to go in yet, and I've just finished this badass. Yeah, absolutely puffing today. I think it's about 25 degrees or something daft. So yeah, that was fun getting them up there. That's why scaffolding guys are like pretty much what do you call it, parallel and muscular wise. They got the backs and the shoulders are like pretty much the same. They're not really like one side dominant, because they can't be, because you've got to get them things up and then manhandle them up. Proper scaffolding, that is, not this stuff. This is like fucking Playmobil scaffolding. This scaff stuff is easy. But yeah, I got my ladder in and that. So I'm just gonna about go on roof. So I'm better off putting it in Wi-Fi mode so you can see. Wi-Fi mode. Widescreen. Yeah, they've come up quite a lot, these flowers. But yeah, it goes fucking all the way over there to them trees, and then down that bush line, and behind there, that's me mini forest, and then you've got the workshop, stores, stables, and it goes that bunch of trees right in the middle here, goes behind that, and then where does it go? I think it goes right into that corner where that tiny little green bush is, that bright green bush, and then it goes down there and back, right up there behind all these trees. I don't know. But yeah, it's going to be a job doing this. I think what I'm going to do, because this is a short side, is what he's done here. These ridges are just sat on. I think what he's done is he's taken some out, and I think the roof started to sag here, and it's definitely bored here, the opposite direction it comes up like a hump. And I think what's happening here is, on the inside there's a wall that runs across here. So this side you can stand up, obviously, and this side, half of it you can stand up, and then the remaining bit is like single story, it goes down there. And on the inside of here, there's stacks of blocks literally on top of each other like that, just to support the actual roof trusses that are going across. So yeah, I think what I might do is do this section first, take all this off, take all these ridges off to this bit, and then check the wall plate out, replace the timbers that are going across. I might have a look at this and see about putting a piece of 9x2 in the middle, or 9x3, whatever, I don't know, and then sit new timbers off it, and then run a laser line down, and then redo all these timbers so they're all the same. Yeah, don't know what I'm doing. It's gonna be fun though. And then I'll clad it in bits and then put some tarp over it to stop it pissing in, and then do the other half, and then somehow work this stuff out. And that'll probably end up, taking me to the end of this year, and that one will take me next year. But you know, I've got the static to live in, which I've still got a clad yet. So right, let's go. Dinner time. Alright, this well thing, well, we think it's a well, we don't know. The water seems to be coming out and then dribbling out over the rock, and it's got loads of orangey bits in it. So we took it to a company called EPS, about 20 minutes away, plumbing and water testing and whatnot. He looked at it and he said, oh yeah, it looks like you've got a lot of iron in your water, so there's a massive amount of stuff that you need to do in order to treat this stuff. He says, so you're better off staying on your mains water supply, which was interesting because I went to a meeting and I said to them about, you're actually a member. They got all my details from a solicitor who originally dealt with the transaction from the seller, and I said to him, where have you got my information from? I wasn't impressed, needless to say. So he told me. I asked him under data subject access request, because Ireland is governed by legislation and the Crown, and these lot don't know it, they haven't got a fucking clue. And they're governed by statutes and acts, namely Bills and Exchange Act 1882, which means if somebody's sending a bill, it has to be a true bill with some certain, and there's got to be a name on it to somebody on their end. So I've quizzed him about that as well. So we went to a meeting. the treasurer, the head honcho, and the team of or the council or the board or whatever you want to call them, and I just started grilling them. And they weren't happy when I mentioned freedom of information requests. He fucking started jittering around in his chair, the lad. Well, I can answer your questions now. What do you want to know? I said, no. What do you want to know? I said, I want the truth. And I'll tell you now, under fucking penalty of perjury, they'll give it me. So the accountant, treasurer, whatever he wants to call himself, silly little title that he gives himself, he basically stated at the meeting that they weren't governed by the Bills and Exchange Act, which is very interesting, because if you shove that in, Bills and Exchange Act, and then put Republic of Ireland or Ireland, it tells you it is, which tells you who controls this country, because it ain't the Irish. I'll tell you that for nothing. Yeah, the water company, they had like a major kick-off. I think they lasted about 100 days. They created like Irish Water PLC, and then after 100 days they all fucking lost their marbles over it because they were getting charged for water. So the crafty gets knew that. They knew the people would kick off. So they already had it predetermined that they were going to split it all up into little different regions. So then they've got National Water Board and da-da-da-da-da. Now you've got sub-boards. So this board where we are, they pay another board for the water. And because it's got vegetable matter in it, what happens is it carries some sort of bacteria, E. coli and whatever else you want to call it. And then there's this good one called Cryptosporidium. And it's nasty. It gives you gastroenterital issues, and apparently it's nasty for people with a weakened immune system. It's a parasite, but interestingly enough, they can't tell you whether it's dead or alive. And I thought, well, if you've got a microscope, and this is on the internet by the way, if you've got a microscope, then surely you'll be able to see if it's moving or not. But you know, whatever. So what they do is, in their infinite wisdom, they put chlorine in it, right? Chlorine's really bad. It's really bad. And then when it mixes with this vegetable matter, so they're trying to kill these bacteria, right? And if you Google this crypto or whatever, it's fucking practically immune to this stuff. You can drop it in toxic chlorine, like 45, 50 parts per million, right? It'll kill you. About an hour and a half. And you can put this thing in there and it'll go, yeah, and what? So you can't get rid of it using that method. So the thing is with the chlorine is that when it does react with the vegetable matter that's still in the water, right, from the lodges, right, the treatment, whatever, and the pipes and wherever else, check this out, we mean business on this land. Look at that. There's another one over there. It was a nightmare. I had to stick it to a tree. What was I going on about now? Oh, I rambling on. It won't kill it, but the chlorine, unfortunately, reacts with vegetable matter, creates other issues. One of them's chloroform. Right, do you want to go to sleep while drinking your water? You know what I mean? Sleepy sleep, eh? And other series of things. You can look them up online, right? And that's apparently safe. So drinking vegetable matter, leaves, branches, soil, whatever, right? It's not safe, but chlorine is, and it causes all these problems. Funnily enough, you want to look at the symptoms of chlorine. Funny enough, it's exactly the same symptoms as what this crypto whatever gives you. It's just that chlorine causes cancer. So, and again, you don't want that. I think, is it THM that it produces? THMs? They know about it. And the Irish got roasted for it by Europe not so long ago, actually, 2025. That's going. I mean, okay, deep this has got. We came here and we put the cats in there initially because they had, get them used to land and that, so they don't run off. Okay, deep this has got. I'll tell you what, it's some job cutting this round here. So we're gonna have to cut all this area out, and we're getting a poly in, a big polycard polytunnel, and it's gonna run from about here, 14 meters, to somewhere over there. So yeah. So I quizzed him about the membership, and I says after the meeting had finished, I decided to have a chat with the guy, the manager. He wasn't impressed. He wasn't impressed that much. He shit himself and he knocked his water over because he saw me. And then he told the head honcho, remember that email that I got from that guy, that fella? Yeah, he's over there. So don't worry, I can fucking lip read and I can test your body language because I know that my presence is going to cause a ripple effect. So I'm looking out for it. I ain't daft. I can see what's going on. So yeah, they were a bit floundered by it. So I asked him at the end, and if he's watching this, bless him, you know what I mean, he probably doesn't know what he's doing, and if he does know what he's doing, he's a bastard. So fair dues, but give him benefit of doubt. I said to him about you know, my data and that, and he says, well, how would you go about it? I said, well, the thing is though, I said, you're breaking the law. I said, they're all breaking the law. I said, you operate under an assumption, does the legal system, is that if they have my details, that you can share it with anybody you want, and you can't, because what I've done is that I've removed that assumption and that presumption that you can hold, share and control my data, alright? And I have the right to privacy. It's a human right, just like my water rights. And I said, because I said, what about your membership? Basically went unresolved, that issue, so I'll deal with him anyway. I've dealt with him in email. If I want to save him some documents and really put him on edge, but he's just a manager, he don't know what he's doing. He's just dealing with things and he's making money quite comfortably as well. I think they make about $500,000, so that's $500,000 reasons to do what they're doing. And the Irish water companies are investing, pharmaceutical companies are investing 7 to 8 billion into new water systems and chlorine and everything else, and doing a good thing for the people and making sure that everyone gets their chlorinated water. Fucking honestly, you couldn't write it. So I said to him about, I said, what happens if I don't want to be a member? Because I haven't seen any terms and conditions, I've not signed anything, do you know what I mean? It's an assumed membership. And what they do is they charge you like €30, €40 for your meter, right? And then because you're not using a certain amount, they don't charge you, so they zero it. And I thought, okay, so it's obviously a trust system. Treasurer's making money, they're making money from somewhere. They're making the farmers pay for it, because the farmer pays €1.05 per cubic metre of water, and he doesn't get any rebates, he has to pay, which I think is absolutely disgusting. But you know, that's what they're doing, innit? You want these farmers getting rid of the land and putting people off doing it, because that's pretty much freedom, innit? Growing your own food and your own animals, and you can trade with each other and you're outside the system. So yeah, he says, well, if you don't want to be a member, he said this rather quietly, he says, we'll cut you off. I said, oh yeah? I said, okay. I said, do you know you like violating people's rights? I said, you're aware of my rights, aren't you? Human rights. Oh yeah. I said, right, I have the right to water. So anyway, he walked off. He wasn't happy again. We're not talking about this. I said, oh man, you know, talk about it. Just have a laugh with it. Do you know what I mean? I'm quite comfortable in talking about it. I haven't got a problem. You violate my rights, clearly. I mean, let's put shoe up to the foot. I spoke about this to my missus afterwards, and I said, I wonder what he'd have done if I'd have turned around to him and said, I'm threatening and harming your children and your family by violating their rights. I wonder what his reaction would have been. But again, this is a level of people that you're dealing with. They don't comprehend it. Because my rights are fucking yours as well, mate. You take my rights away, you're taking your own away, clown. Fucking people, man. You're absolutely irresponsible, most of you. It's kind of disgusting. But until you get people like myself that are kind of educating themselves along and working it all out, and then it gets fucking hard work, because you lot are like these ancient pictures, you know, these old pictures where it shows these demons and shit and they're clawing these fucking people down. That's what you're doing, because you lower consciousness, because you can't accept responsibility for yourself and you submit yourself to a higher authority. Why do you do that? Stockholm syndrome? Indoctrination? I don't know. But yeah, won't be happening on my watch. So plans are afoot. But yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed it. I've not got what we're planning to get done, but I'll just keep chugging away and see what's what. And thanks for listening.